pick some winners and then we say, let's go. So come on.
Welcome into a Friday edition of Betting Weekly Hardball. I am Doug Kezirian alongside professional bettor Chris Macero. And we were last on the show together on Monday, had a positive show. So hopefully we can maintain that positive momentum and juju. Chris, how's your work week been?
I've been a little up and down on baseball. I've had a couple one-run losses, a few too many that I'd like to mention. The Padres have kind of been a little bit of a problem for me this week. Not only did I pop over to Arizona for a couple of days to play them at the plus 1,200 for the division, but since I've done that, they have proceeded to lose 3 in a row. All games they were in and just haven't been able to get the clutch hit or clutch pitching. And last night, Yu Darvish was sort of a train wreck. So we got to regroup here in Padre land, and hopefully they can right the ship and get back into this NL West hunt and and maintain their spot in the wild card. You'd hate to have a team with this much talent in the lineup not make the playoffs.
Yeah, you and I were bullish on the 18-1 odds on Monday at Bet Rivers. So there was a lot to like in that regard. And just a reminder, here in the YouTube world, we ask that you subscribe and like. It really helps us out in the analytics. So please do that for the show, as it is free and it keeps it free. So that would be appreciated on our part. So a couple interesting games to get through. We have always a slate, right? All tickets cash the same, but it's always good to kind of get a feel for the lay of the land, so to speak, on these Fridays. Some game ones in a lot of situations. There was only 5 games yesterday. Real light card for Wes and Adam. So we'll pick up the slack here. I know we don't love any plays, but maybe talking things out will get us going. Interesting matchup in the Bronx. Yankees hosting the Phillies. Warren and Walker squaring off. Yanks have been in a bit of a tailspin since going to Toronto on Canada Day. They got swept in a 4-game set, lost first place in the AL East, and have not regained it. The Yanks are minus 165 home favorites, with the Phils just a half game back in the East in the National League of the other New York team, the Mets. I couldn't find anything here. Pretty big spread. I would say for me, fighting Phils or pass, just because I'm so bearish on the Yankees. I just don't think I want to bet them the rest of the season. Even seeing what Max Fried did, I don't know when there's a time for me to want to back this Yankee squad.
Yeah, the only thing I would maybe lean to here is an over. Both of these pitchers haven't been too sharp of late. And if you look at Walker, some of the opposing batting average stuff with the Yankees batters is just really off the charts. He's given up 7 home runs and only 88 at bats, a 352 average. And a lot of guys really hit him well. Jazz Chisholm, 7 for 15, 3 doubles. Goldie's 5 for 13 with 3 doubles as well. Even Grisham, 3 for 7. And Judge, 4 for 13. And guess what? All 4 of them are home runs. Even Stanton has chimed in, 4 for 12. So a lot of the main guys in the Yankees lineup really hit Walker well. Now, we've seen Warren also troubling starts, of late. He got absolutely smoked by Toronto, and, they kept him in that game. And he's 6-5 with a 4.91 ERA, a little bit better at home. I would say the Yankees probably do have the advantage just in the pitching matchup and the fact that the hitters have been so well against Walker. But it's tough to bet the Yankees of late, especially as favorites. They don't field the ball well. They don't run the bases well. It's a lot of Aaron Boone getting thrown out of games, and it's just not a good vibe around the team. And there's no one coming to save him because there's no Garrett Cole. And they say Hill's coming back soon, but he's not back yet. Pitching hasn't been great. Clutch hitting hasn't been there except for Judge, and it's amazing they still pitch to the guy when they're down 4-2 the other night on Wednesday, and they pitched to him with a base open. He ties the game with another home run. They went on to lose it, but still, it's amazing that they pitched to Judge. I would lean over in this game. I don't have a play on it. Maybe the Yankees, but it's really tough to get behind them, especially at a big price like that.
I'm right there with you on the Judge stuff. The guy leads the league in batting at 345 by a clear distance over the Dodgers' Will Smith, and that's in the majors, obviously. Houston, Jeremy Pena, similar batting average as Smith. But Judge, Triple Crown watch, couple dingers behind Cal Raleigh and behind Eugenio Suarez in the National League, but Judge leads the AL in ribbies, or is tied with Raleigh. So I would not pitch to him. Yanks 4.5 games back. We have Adam Osimo contributing in the conversation. Let's go, Blue Jays. Let's go. Obviously, he's a Blue Jays fan. We've heard from him often in the conversation. We want to remind you to join the conversation. Let us know your thoughts, what you want to see more of, less of on the shows. Also, picks you like, input you're seeking, and we collaborate and maybe get some winners throughout that option of the process. Dodgers, Red Sox in Beantown at Fenway, LA. They got off the schneid with back-to-back wins following that 7-game skid, but they're back to their losing ways, 4-11 in their last 15. Red Sox have lost 4 of 6. Last time I was in Fenway was game 3 or 4 of the World Series, so I'm having PTSD just looking at this matchup. That was a tough one for me, but Red Sox, slight home dogs here. Dodgers continue to get respect in the market. Chris, I want no part of either team. And the over looks intriguing, but all it takes is one of these pitchers to have a really strong performance. Bello kind of steps up in certain games. He's had a down year, but in previous years he has. So even in this situation with 9.5, I would lean under, to be honest.
Well, Bello had one bad start his last time out. I mean, I wouldn't even classify it as bad, but before that, he had 8 straight starts of 3 earned runs or less, going 6 innings or more. He's been pretty solid in the middle part of the season. 6-4, 3.23 ERA overall. That's not too bad for American League East. At home, he's 5-2 with a 3.2. He's faced the Dodgers very limited, only 2 batters, 0 for 2. I think Max Kepler was the only batter that he's faced on the Dodgers team. Now, Sheehan, I don't understand how this guy could possibly be the favorite at Fenway. His first start at Fenway Park, Green Monster, Friday night, under the lights. Boston, a very solid home team, 32-20. Dodgers only 25-22 on the road. It makes absolutely no sense why the Dodgers are favored in this game. I mean, Sheehan's only making his 4th start of his career. This year. He pitched a little bit in 2023. He's only pitched 16 innings. He's given up 17 hits, 8 earned runs. So nothing like spectacular that would make him the favorite. Dodgers are not hitting the ball great. I mean, they came off a miracle. Both of these teams actually off miracle wins on Wednesday. The Dodgers, down 4-3 in the 9th, end up walking it off 2 in the 9th, and the Red Sox were down 5-0. They would get 2 batters walked in by Lozado, and then the grand slam. And if anyone's seen the clip of Cora, it looks like Cora's, he's able to tell that Lozado's tipping his pitches and relay it to the first base coach and relay it to the batter. Pretty crazy stuff. They hit a grand slam. Then they blow the lead in the 9th and come back and win in extra innings, one of their only extra inning wins all year. So 2 miracle wins for both these teams. But I really like Boston at home. I don't have a play on the game yet. There's a possibility of some rain in the forecast. So never good when you want this, you have the advantage as the starter, which I think the Red Sox do. But I would be Boston or nothing here. Dodgers coming across the country, not that great on the road, not hitting that great. And they don't have really a solid pitcher going tonight. So it would be Boston or nothing for me.
All right. So a couple leans from us. And I love this comment in the comment section. Villafan20. I'm from the UK, normally busy at this time of the night, so rarely get to watch. Been trying harder recently, but the wife is out tonight, so I get to watch live. Know nothing about baseball, though. Love it. Love it. Welcome to the party. The water's warm. Come jump in. But we like it. We like anyone taking the time to join us live. We can also, obviously the shows are all archived, so please, we welcome you to hop on board at any point. But good to have that you had some free time with the time difference at night overseas to join the conversation. So a couple leans from us out of the gates. Mets Giants, sneaky good game out west. Logan Webb on the bump for San Francisco. Holmes goes for New York, which has won 4 straight. Like I said earlier, they're now a half game up of Philly in the National League East. This is Webb at home, where he's been so electric. The splits are off the charts in terms of the difference the last I would say 3-4 seasons, where he's kind of finished in the Cy Young voting, so to speak, but he did get roughed up against the Dodgers in his last home start. Before that, he was his usual dominant self. I'll chalk it up to a really good lineup. Mets are no slouch offensively, but they're not the Dodgers per se. I actually like the Giants a little bit. I just can't stand betting them because their offense is so weak.
Yeah, this might be an under game. It would be Giants or pass for me, although I try not to step in front of a team on a 4-game winning streak. The Mets dispatched the Angels for their 4th straight win. Now they go on the road where they're not too sharp on the road. Only 22-28 the Mets are. And then you're going into San Fran, who's the opposite, 28-20 at home. And like you mentioned, Logan Webb, who's been lights out at home especially. And you mentioned he did get roughed up a little bit by the Dodgers. But what concerns me is now 2 starts in a row, he's got roughed up. 11 hits, 4 earned runs, and a loss against Toronto last week. So a little bit of pause on Logan Webb. Maybe he's tiring. Maybe he's got too many innings. He's been spectacular for so long for the last, 2 or 3 years, especially at home. But it would definitely be Giants or pass for me just due to the disparity in the home road records. Clay Holmes has been consistent all year, home and away. The ERA is pretty much the same. So it would be Giants or pass, and maybe a lean to the under because I feel like these night games at San Francisco, I know I've mentioned it many times before, you get off to such slow starts. It's a tough place to hit. Not many balls are flying out of the ballpark. A couple guys with some stats. Devers is 2 for 7 with 1 home run against Holmes. So maybe you look some sort of prop with Devers. If you're trying to go against some negative props, Nimmo is 1 for 17 versus Logan Webb. So maybe you go for some sort of under prop with Nimmo. He has had no luck against Logan Webb.
How do you feel about a Nerfy minus 125?
I feel pretty confident about it. The only thing would be a little nervous is Devers seems to be heating up. He had 2 home runs the other day. He's kind of a little bit of a spark lately. He bats third, so hopefully he doesn't put one out. But I could be on board at a Nerfy. One other guy who's hitting pretty well too is against Holmes is against Webb is Marte, 7 for 15, which is pretty good stats for Logan Webb.
Yeah, the question is, do you play the Nerfy or do you play, Marte doesn't bat till later in the lineup, so 5th. So that's what would help. And Alonso is 4th. So you just have a beefy top of the lineup. That's the only problem. But, Soto hasn't exactly been raking. I'll go Nerfy minus a quarter, minus 125. We'll make their first official play of the show. And want to remind everyone about the newsletter. If you like what you hear on our show, sign up. Get exclusive tips and the free Insider magazine. To do so, sign up at bettingweeklystudios.com. And it's really good stuff. It's pages and pages of breakdowns, links to shows here on the Bet Rivers Network, also at Bet Rivers lines and odds. So a lot of good stuff across the board. And Nigel and the crew do a wonderful, wonderful job. We'll keep it moving here. Tigers and Blue Jays, those first place Toronto Blue Jays with Adam Osimo cheering them on. Montero on the bump with Barrios with the road team. Blue Jays bats have been pretty hot, all things considered. Tigers cooling off a little bit. Tigers basically a pickup game. Tigers minus 112. I have nothing here. For me, it's Toronto or pass. I don't love Barrios, but this Detroit team's a little coming back to earth, I guess is the way to put it. I'm not obviously, heavily cold on them, but they have lost 4 straight. And I'm just not in a rush to bet on them right now.
I know we had an all-star break in between a little bit, but for the last almost 3 weeks, the Detroit Tigers have 1 win. They're 1-12. They're 1-11 the last 12. The losing streak kicked in on a Wednesday versus Tampa Bay. They had the lead. They blew it in the 6th inning, and things have snowballed ever since. I'm not sure what's going on with this team. Even Schoolbowl struggled a little bit. The bats have gone silent. This team is a little bit of trouble. I mean, they had a 13-14 game lead. It's down to 8. Cleveland's been hot. This game is definitely Toronto or pass. I'm not going to get involved on the side. I am going to play over George Springer, total bases, 1.5 plus money. You can find plus money. I got it this morning, plus 105. He is 3 for 3 versus Montero with a double and 2 home runs. So this guy's been hot as it is, and now he's running into a guy that he's obviously sees very well and is, obviously only faced him 3 times, but all 3 times have been extra base hits. So I'm going to play over 1.5 total bases on George Springer, and hopefully we can get that early and just not have to sweat it out.
All right, we'll see if the summer of George continues because I mentioned that 4-game home sweep with the Yanks. Springer went yard, I think, twice on Canada Day and really sparked the offense, which sparked this run that Toronto now is in first place. So feels pretty cheap against a pitcher like Montero, all things considered, how the Tigers are sort of slipping and sliding these days. Padres, you mentioned them. They've been stumbling as well. They're in St. Louis. Miles Michaelis on the bump. Pivetta goes for the Friars, minus 136, road chalk, 8.5. Michaelis is like Brett Favre was to me. I can't bet on him. I can't bet against him. I can never get it right. Michael Vick was kind of like that for me as well. There's a couple pitchers in that category, but I feel like Michaelis is. I never know what I'm going to get with him. And even when I think he's going to get rocked, he goes under. It's just stay away for me. What about you?
Yeah, well, I'm not going back to the Padres well again. I've had them a couple times this week. I had them last night. They take a 2-0 lead. They're plus money. They're a 2-0 lead. And before you know it, Yu Darvish has given up one home run and another home run, 3-run homers. Just Yu Darvish, I think, might be at the end of the road. A friend of mine has played over Yu Darvish 2 earned runs in all of his starts. That's got there every single time. I'm not sure why I'm not doing it, because he just can't get through these innings anymore, and he's just giving up runs after runs and not getting many quality starts. So I'm not going to go back to the Padres, but there's no way I'm going to back Michaelis either. 5-7, 5.2 ERA, 2-3, 4.19 at home, and he has a tendency to give up a lot of big innings. Machado has 2 home runs against him, so if you're looking at for a prop, maybe Machado is the way to go. Arenado has accounted for the only 3 hits in the Cardinals lineup against Pivetta. The rest of the team is 0 for 13. So Pivetta does have the major pitching advantage here. I'm just not sure with this Padres team losing 3 in a row, not hitting when they need to hit. And when they finally hit last night, they couldn't get the pitching. So this team's in a little bit of struggles right now. I'm not sure if they're going to turn it around or what they're going to do with the deadline. They get a lot of issues because they're just not hitting like they hit last year. Tatis isn't the same guy. Not sure if it's because of the PEDs or whatnot, but it's just not the same offensive juggernaut team that it's been the last couple of years in San Diego.
Yeah, it is really bizarre. I think I sniffed it out like a month ago. I'm like, man, this team's not hitting like it should. And it's frustrating for, when the Dodgers are in a tailspin, you feel like the Padres should almost take over the first place. And they've just been unable to capitalize. I still think the Dodgers have issues. You and I discussed it earlier in the week. Teams get hot in baseball, right? We've seen teams make a run in August, come out of nowhere. Is it likely? No, but the Dodgers, what they're being priced at is pretty insane, all things considered. Now, that offense, very top-heavy with the MVPs, but man, the Padres should be kicking themselves. You mentioned it on Monday this week. They were up in the series, that best of 5 last year, up 2-1, then didn't score. And so the opportunities have been there. Even when they won in the bubble, the Dodgers did. The Braves had them in that series. So it's look, they got alligator blood. I'll give them credit for that. But there are opportunities here, and maybe the Padres can flip the page and flip the script with Pivetta on the bump and get things going. Another game I wanted to dive into, because I know you have a play, is the Braves at the Rangers. Atlanta's obviously in a huge spiral this year, probably the most disappointing team in all of baseball, if not for the Orioles. And they're in the Rangers. Rangers significant favorites here with Eovaldi on the bump, who's been lights out for the most part. What's your read on this game?
Yeah, this game opened up Texas minus 165. I don't understand the move down to maybe we're still at 165. I got it earlier. It was 165. It went down to 142. I grabbed 142. I don't understand the move down for the Braves. I don't understand why the Braves are priced anywhere remotely close. They're only 18-31 on the road, and they have a guy, Joey Wentz. He's only making his second start. He's made 26 relief appearances, and he's not been a good reliever. 2-1 with a 5.71 ERA. The opponents on Texas are batting .370, and it's not that small of a sample size. 17 of 46 with 4 home runs. Duran, Garcia, Jung have all gone deep against him. And on the flip side, you have Eovaldi, 7-3, 1.58 ERA. Guy's been lights out, like you said. Opponent's only batting 155 against him. So I'm on Texas, official play. This Atlanta team's lost 2 in a row. They've only got 18 wins on the road all year. Texas has got three wins in their pocket in a row. So I'm going to try to ride this streak with Texas. It seems like they're coming alive at the right time. Bats are waking up a little bit. They got DeGrom, Eovaldi. This team's going to make a serious push for the playoffs, neck and neck with Boston and Seattle for that wild card spot. I like Texas a lot tonight.
All right, good. Good to be back. I can't blame you at all. And I do think this Rangers sort of a sleeping team in the playoff hunt. If they can get to the postseason, you mentioned Evaldi with DeGrom, they have the making. Sometimes offenses heat up, right? And they get cooking, and maybe they'll have, I don't know, home field advantage with the sweltering humidity in Arlington. With maybe make a push in August with some road teams. I like them. There's a lot to like when Degrom's on. He's as good as he's ever been, and I know he's changed some of his pitches and approach to preserve his arm. I read some interesting articles throughout the season, but bottom line is DeGrom's a guy you want to go to bat with, but Evaldi's there as well. He big, long relief for the Red Sox in the World Series when they beat the Dodgers. He's been excellent at times in his career. He's very underrated by even legitimate baseball fans, not just casual fans. So I think this is a good spot. I certainly can support you with Evaldi. We have some people chiming in about Adam Osimo saying Texas Rangers all day. Maserati Fox saying Josh Bell, Barger both get hits. Texas Rangers should win. So the crew, our audience, certainly seeing the ball similarly. And one of our other viewers wants to get some input on the Cubs White Sox games. Daryl Turner says opinions on the over in the Cubs White Sox matchup. It's dragging rights contest that should go over, but everyone likes the under. So that game, crosstown rivalry, if you will, because obviously the White Sox, I don't know how much of a rivalry it is. It's a Cubs town for the most part, but this one on the south side of Chicago. Cubbies significant road favorites in the neighborhood of $2. Although the White Sox, going with one of their good pitchers, right? Like he was hurt for most of the year, was Hauser, but he's been excellent. Imanaga goes for the Cubs, who I love watching just because he has such an array of pitches and speeds. Should be interesting. I'd look at the under 8.5. I like Hauser a lot. So that's where my first look would be.
Well, the thing with this line is as soon as I did my handicap on this game, I looked for the line and I saw that it was 8.5, and I made the line 7. So that means either I'm way off or something's fishy. So I'm queuing this the fishy line of the day. You have Hauser, who has given up one earned run in all of his starts at home this year. He's 4-0 with a 0.69 ERA. And then Imanaga is no slouch either. 7.3, 2.4. And away, he's 4-2 with a 1.33. So you got two pitchers with microscopic ERAs, one that pitches well and better on the road, and one that pitches absolutely incredible at home. And the total is 8.5. So I don't know. It seems like it should be an under. Maybe the wind's blowing out. I haven't checked the wind, the situation at whatever they call that Bank Right Park in south side of Chicago now. So it just seems fishy. I figured this would be a 7 or 7.5 total with these two pitchers, especially how good Hauser's been at home. It's just very shocking that it's 8.5. So I would kind of be a little wary of this one if you're going under, just due to the fact that the total seems a little bit high.
All right, so it stinks. The question is, how bad does it stink? Is it like an outhouse bad or just a little fishy? That's the question. And you got to weigh that. But these are how you develop instincts. Sometimes I always say I have the scar tissue. We've been, you get hit on the head enough times, you learn your lesson on some things. So Chris, being the veteran handicapper that he is, he's been down this road before. He's been hit on the head a few times, or he's at least sniffed it out and seen it play out accordingly. So that is one way to compensate. And I've said this all the time: when you avoid a bad bet, you're really getting plus money. It's under 8.5 minus 120, and you avoid that, you got plus 120 by keeping the money in your bankroll. So that's something to keep in mind. And look, when the game starts, you can always get involved live. So these are things to kind of think in the back of your head. You have options. You have a palette, as a painter would use, and you have options to use. So it's something to consider.
Yeah, the Cubs batters have hit 280. They're 284 average against Hauser, so maybe that's one of the reasons. Ian Happ's 4 for 14, but no one really stands out as like, oh, there's a guy hitting 8 for 12 with 4 home runs against them. So I'm just not sure. It just seems fishy. And I did make one mistake. Hauser's given up 2 earned runs at home this year. My apologies, but still 2 earned runs at home all year. Imanaga's been lights out on the road. It's tough for me to bet this over unless there is some gusty winds blowing out.
I mean, usually we worry about wind in Wrigley Field, not just the way the shape of the park and the location. Usually not a huge deal for the White Sox. Am I remembering that correctly?
It sounds about right. Yeah, it's obviously the Wrigley, the wind blowing out of Wrigley is a totally different animal. If it's blowing out there, you get 14, 15 runs, no problem. Yeah, it's never been a major issue, but who knows? It might be something going on with the wind. Maybe it's 85 degrees. Maybe it's there's a little gust to left field or something. I haven't checked it out. I just thought it was peculiar that the number was 8.5 with you get these two sharp pitchers, and the Cubs haven't been hitting this great lately. Although the
Right.
White Sox stats have been a little bit better. So, White Sox have been okay. They've won 4 out of 5. So White Sox, not too shabby lately.
White Sox are a team I'd strongly consider in this bet, this value play. I like Imanaga though, so I'm not giving up on the under yet. I'm not as my nose isn't as good at the radar, I guess, because I'm still thinking about it. One game that I think is the questionable game of the day, the fishy line, is the Mariners at the Angels with Wu on the bump for Seattle and Soriano going for the Halos. I am not a believer in Soriano. I think he's a volcano that often is waiting to get erupt. This line feels cheap. I know they're on the road, but Mariners minus $1.27. I would have made this closer to 150. How do you feel about this matchup?
Definitely lean towards Seattle. I've been on Soriano a couple times, and he can pitch tremendous for say 2 innings, and he looks like Pedro Martinez. And then the third inning will kick off, and he'll walk the first 2 batters. There'll be a questionable play in the field, and then he completely unravels. He has 15 walks in his last 4 home starts, and at home, if for some reason he cannot pitch at home, 1-5 with a 5.65 ERA. So I would be on Seattle. I like the way the Seattle team's coming together. They just made the trade for Naylor. That's usually a big boost in the clubhouse. That means they know they're going for it. And the rest of this pitching staff has been pretty solid all year. Kirby's coming around now. And if they can get an extra bat like Naylor, it's a couple with Raleigh. And Soriano's a little wild like he has been lately, especially at home. I like Seattle. They've been on they've only won 1 in a row, but they lost the previous game. They had a nice little winning streak going before that. I feel like the Angels are doing their regular second half swoon, got swept on the East Coast by the Mets, came home yesterday, lost, didn't put up much of an effort, only 1 run. I could see this Angels team just completely falling apart, and I'm high on Seattle now. They're going for it. They're in the mix. They're making some moves. I'm sure it won't be the only move they make. And Seattle with that pitching staff, it's a dangerous team. If they can, get into that one of those wild card spots, it's not a team you want to face.
I'm with you on this. I'm going to make it an official play. Give me the Mariners minus 127. And the reason is this Angels lineup is better than it's been in recent years. They have a feast or famine. They can rake, but I trust Brian Wu on the bump. I think he can paint the edges, be locked in. And to your point, Soriano, you captured it so effectively and accurately in my eyes. He does look all world for a couple innings, and then he's just walking guys unnecessarily. Now, this Mariners lineup tends to strike out more than most, not the most potent in the world. 8's a low total as well, so maybe I'd look there for the under even. But I think the Mariners can scratch and claw a win, and Soriano can serve some nice pitches up on a silver platter. So I'm going to back the Mariners here. I don't think much of this Angels team. And to your point, they do have a track record of fading hard this time of year. So I think we're headed down that road in my eyes.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just think the Angels, they're not going to be sellers. All they do is launch angle, home run. They have a lot of, when I was up there for the Red Sox series, just looking at their lineup on the board, it would always be like a bunch of guys with double-digit home runs, but everyone was hitting like 212. So, they're just all for nothing, launch angle type guys, boomer bust. And it's not a great team. I feel like they haven't had a good pitcher since John Lackey. It's been so long. It's just they're never going to be competitive enough. They're never going to they're never going to hang in for the wild card. It's just the way it is. It's just that's just one of those teams. They got a bunch of somewhat exciting players, but just never enough pitching, never enough bullpen. And I can see the Mariners getting a little bit of a hot streak here. When you're the first team to make a move at the trade deadline, that really boosts the morale in the clubhouse. And I really think Seattle's going to go on a little bit of a run here.
All right. So mark it down for me. Official play. 2 teams that have been extremely costly to your bankroll if you've been betting them. The Rockies visit the Orioles. Rockies down 30+ units this year. Orioles have come back to life a little bit in that department. They are down 11 units. And Baltimore's a home favorite here, -205. Kyle Freeland on the bump against Dean Kramer, who's actually been okay, especially lately. Freeland has his moments. I would look at the O's on the run line, but this over-under feels a little high. I don't think the Rockies can score much, if at all. And I think if Freeland can just manage a few, it could be like a 6-2 game.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Kramer. I've mentioned that before, but he has pitched well at home, 5-2 with a 2 ERA somehow. I'm not sure how he's pulling that off. He's been terrible on the road, but he is at home tonight. One question is, though, it's going to be very warm, 93 degrees at first pitch. So the ball should be flying out of there. Freeland's just been terrible. I can't believe this guy is still in the big leagues. 2-10, 5.19 ERA, 1-6 on the road. Just doesn't have much going for him. And I don't know. The Rockies have won 2 in a row. The Orioles won 1 in a row, but the Rockies only have 12 wins on the road. So it's tough to back them, but I don't really want to get behind Kramer -200. Maybe look towards an over because of the warm weather and 2 not so great pitchers, but I'm going to stay away from this game.
What about a plus money on the run line for the O's? If it happens, it's almost like the variance, right? Like Kramer, if he's on, he's on, and then the O's batch with the Heat and Freeland pitching should be a convincing win.
Yeah, they could be, but I'm just this Orioles team. Just they started terrible. They've never got off to they never really got it together. They were never hitting it off the same time. It's just I remember last year, Gunnar Henderson and so many stars on the team. Mullins had a huge year. He was an all-star last year. This year, just no one's hitting the same. It's just I don't know what it is, and it's a friendly hitters park, and they just don't have it. They just don't have it this year. I'm just it's kind of sad because they kind of missed their window last couple of years, over 90 wins, and just never made the correct deals at the deadline to bolster the team, and end up getting swept out of the playoffs 2 years ago, and just not a winning franchise. So I'm not going to be involved in this game. It's too pricey either way, and two teams are just they're not going in the right direction.
To your point, Baltimore is 2-7 in its last 9 games, although this is certainly a drop down in competition. Just want a reminder, Chris just mentioned the ball could be flying out with the high temps at Camden. It's Bat Flip Friday at Bet Rivers. Opt in and place a $10 wager on any player to hit a home run, and you'll receive a profit boost of up to 100%. See the Bet Rivers app for full details. And I want to talk about prop packs, too. This is a good option as well. Get extra value this summer with prop packs exclusively at Bet Rivers. Opt into the prop packs promotion for your chance to earn profit boosts, bonus credits, and more when you place MLB same-game parlays. See the Bet Rivers app for full details and tear into the action. So we've covered almost all the games. There's a couple ones that, we flushed out. I guess we should discuss the Brewers, who have been fantastic in 61-41. So 20 games above 500, obviously. Now, their long win streak did end, but sure enough, back in the win column yesterday, 10-2 win in their last game in Seattle. So now they're hosting the Marlins. I've made it a practice of not betting against Miami, but Brewers heavy favorites, -225. Peralta going. He's another guy that I haven't quite figured out yet, so to speak. But Quantrill goes for Miami, who's been a little more respectable of late. They've won 6 of 8. They're creeping up to 500. I just wish they didn't start so poorly because I'd be looking at them to maybe get in the wild card race and take a flyer on them. But in terms of this game, Brewers, obviously a lot of positive momentum, a lot of good vibes in that clubhouse, but it's a big number. Any thoughts?
Well, they hit Quantrill really well, 340 opponent's batting average. Wilson Contreras 3 for 5 at 600, and Andrew Vaughn 4 for 9, 444. Quantrill's been kind of he's had some quality starts, but overall 3-8, 5.24 ERA. Even worse on the road, 2-5 with a 6.2. This would definitely be Milwaukee or pass. Maybe put Milwaukee in a parlay with something else you like. Peralta's been pretty solid, 12-4, 2.85 ERA. So, and lights out at home, 7-0, 1.53. he's sneaking into the Cy Young fray. You never know. I mean, everyone anoints these guys. Skeens is going to get it. He has the most gaudy stats, but when you only have 4 wins, it's tough to give him the Cy Young. And Wheeler's been awesome too, but Red Sox got to him a little bit the other night. Still a long way to go. We're not even at the trade deadline. And I like Peralta. I like this Brewers team. I took some Brewers plus 900 to win the National League this week. I was waiting on it. And finally I said, you know what? The Dodgers have enough problems. And I just think the Brewers have great pitching. I love their manager. Timely hitting. They don't have any superstar guys that are, taking the shine away from the team. So just a great team effort. And I really like what the Brewers are doing. And I'd be inclined to lean Brewers, say I don't have a play in pocket. This game starts in a couple hours. So, not even a couple hours, less than a couple hours. So if you want to jump on the Brewers, maybe put them in a parlay. 33-17 at home, pretty solid home record. And Miami, if the Brewers didn't have a day off on their trip back, if they were playing this game yesterday, I might have a little more, apprehension to take the Brewers. But since they got the day off, time to regroup. Miami coming in, and the pitching matchup is just overall A+ for the Brewers. So I'd be on Brewers or nothing.
You mentioned the Cy Young. Let's wrap up the show with the NL Cy Young picture, because Skeens and Wheeler are each minus 110 at Bet Rivers. You mentioned the wins. There are old timers, if you will, who focus on wins. I'll never forget Michael Wilbon's rant when DeGrom won Cy Young for the Mets, and he had no wins, but his other metrics were off the charts, and he just couldn't grasp the fact that wins entail runs being scored by your offense, and that's not part of the pitching. But there are some long shots who could make a push. You're right. People think these races are over. There's long shot odds that always sort of get some momentum, and that's what I see. Peralta's plus 3,500 at Bet Rivers. Matthew Boyd is in the conversation, I think. He's been excellent for the Cubs. He's at 33-1. And yes, you're going to need Skeens and Wheeler to fade a little bit, but that's why it's attractive. And we have some time left, right? We have a month and a half or so. So anybody catch your eye, starting with Peralta?
Well, I like the fact that you could maybe just take a small bet on Peralta or Boyd, and then if Skeens, listen, I don't think Skeens, even though Skeens has some ridiculous numbers and there's these crazy stats where they're comparing him to things that have never happened. He's the only one who's done it. He's only pitching 4 and 5 innings per start now. He's not going deep in the games. They're not winning his starts. Yes, he's striking out guys. Yes, he's unhittable. Yes, he hasn't given up a run in the first inning in 21 consecutive starts, which is ridiculous. But I'm just not sure they're going to give it to the guy who might have sub 10 wins. I mean, Felix Hernandez that year, he was, I think, 500 or maybe one game above 500. To your point, Bob Welch, when he had 25 wins, he might have even had more than 25 wins back for the A's. He didn't have a great ERA, but they gave him the Cy Young because he had more wins. I think times have changed now. People look at all different metrics, but I would definitely take shots at Boyd, Peralta. Not huge bets, but hey, you bet $100 on both of those guys, and next thing you know, you have a shot at 3,500. And maybe Skeens, maybe they shut him down. Maybe Wheeler gets roughed up. He didn't look too sharp against Boston the other night. So it's just such a long way to go. We're not even at the trade deadline. We have all of August, all of September, and this last week in July. A lot can happen. Things change quickly in baseball. Teams go on 10-game winning streaks. Pitchers go on 3-game losing streaks. It just happens all the time. It's a game of streaks. It's a great game. It's every day, long season. Things happen. I think we may have lost Doug, but we'll see if we can get some winners for you tonight. My official plays are over George Springer, 1.5 total bases, plus 105. I'm on the Texas Rangers, which has been bet up from 142 to 165. And I got a strong lean on Seattle as well. Haven't made it an official play, but I'll probably get involved with Seattle later tonight.
Handicappers, they're all in the know. Pick some winners and then we say, let's go. So come on. It's time to watch the show. We're talking
Apologies for that. The internet dumped here, and that is the beauty of live television, live content. So we were just wrapping things up, Chris. You're talking about the beauty of taking long shots this time of year. I think I encourage everyone, if they have some time, or maybe we can discuss it in the next show, is just to go back who's won these types of awards. MVP is a little different. That stuff can get decided by the All-Star break. But Cy Young, a couple bad outings. These voters are very fickle. It's like the Heisman, really. Heisman's the most fickle betting market there is in terms of awards. Late season stuff, you really have guys that come on. And as we all know in sports, pitchers can get streaky and things like that. So I would be very careful betting either of the favorites, Skeens or Wheeler. And then I do think there's long shot value with the others.
Well, like I was saying before you got cut off there, Peralta and Boyd, if you just put $100 on each of them, or if you want to just pick one of them, and then you might have a shot at a nice $3,500 payday. And I'll give you another angle for Peralta. There's no, like I mentioned, there's no one on the team that's the superstar player that's vying for MVP like some of these other teams. So maybe they look at Peralta. Maybe he finishes strong. He wins the last 8 games. He finishes 20 and 4 with the sub 2.5 ERA and lights out at home where he hasn't lost yet. So that might be worth a little bit of a sprinkle at 35-1. There's no reason why that he couldn't, finish the season strong. Maybe Skeen sits out a little bit. They're not really pushing him more than 5 innings, and we'll see what happens with Wheeler. I mean, there's a reason it's 35-1, but he has really solid stats, and he's been the ace of the staff, and they don't have another marquee guy, that's vying for MVP. So maybe the voters look to, hey, we got to give Milwaukee, the best team in baseball, an award, and maybe they look for him for Cy Young.
That's a great point. Voters do think like that, spread the wealth, so to speak. If somebody's not going to get the MVP, they feel the need obligated, so to speak. And then all it takes is one sort of talking head to push for it. And then the voters get in line like sheep. So it's crazy, but handicapping awards, very different than handicapping action on the field. It is action on the field, but it's not just that element. You have to factor in the people, and there is a human element to this. So that's going to do it for this edition of Betting Weekly Hardball. We so appreciate you tuning in, especially overseas, one of our audience members. So really cool over there to get some, the time difference at night on a Friday night. But we appreciate everyone checking in. Again, Betting Weekly Hardball, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. And that's followed by Betting Weekly Fast Break, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. I'll be top of the hour as well. So we hope you join us. Talk a little WNBA going into the weekend. So for Chris Macero and everyone behind the scenes that does all the heavy lifting and does such a wonderful job to make things look so good, I'm Doug Kezirian. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday.